thank you for joining us on the Barre Beat podcast, live from Fly on the Wall Productions, Main Street, Barre, Vermont. Want to say thank you to everyone that's watching. And with us tonight, we have the lovely Raylene.
Good evening.
And we have in-house two new guests to the Barre Beat, Aimee Green and Shannon Alexander. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So we wanted to have them come on tonight so that we can, get an idea of what BADC is. People that are involved in city politics know what BADC is, but your average individual does not. So I wanted to take this opportunity and give you guys an opportunity to explain who you are. So I guess the first question that I'm not going to ask a question. I'll just say if you want to say something before we move forward. Do you have anything you want to say? Or
Sure. Well, thank you for having us. It's really a pleasure to be here. My name is Aimee, and I am the relatively new executive director to Barre Area Development. It's really a pleasure to be here in this community and to serve and feel very welcomed. It's really an incredible town, an incredible city, and I'm really excited about the work ahead. I guess with that, I'm happy to jump in a little bit, if you'd like, and share a little bit about the history of Barre Area Development and what we're doing.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
Please do so.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And Shannon, you're the...
Shannon?
I'm the marketing coordinator for Barre Area Development. You probably know me from a variety of things in the community.
Yes.
My face is usually around. My photos primarily are what you see the most. Me running into streets and taking photos, and I'm always around.
All right.
An excellent photographer at that.
Thank you.
Yes, we're very lucky to have Shannon
Thank you.
on board. So Barre Area Development was actually founded a very long time ago in 1961. Some people might be surprised by that. We have been around for a very long time. We are, in essence, what I will coin as the economic development arm for the Barre community. So our role in the community is to assist businesses who either want to expand in the Barre community, be it in the town or in the city, or move here from another part of the state or another state completely, or even another country. We assist businesses with loans and getting them connected with varying loan options, with granting options, with writing business plans, kind of you name it. And a big part of what we do also, my predecessors and myself included now, is work at the state level with writing grants to bring varying kinds of grants into the community. So most recently, my predecessor, Cody Morrison, whom you all know, wrote several different grants, which just in the past year alone have brought in over $6 million to the city of Barre, which is pretty fantastic. And I think everyone's pretty proud about that. We also, just this past year, in my short tenure, have been named to what's called the Northern Borders Regional Commission priority list. And what that is a list that is essentially a federal list that's named by a group called the Northern Borders Regional Commission. NBRC is the acronym. And we were chosen out of 10 different, a group of 10 organizations to essentially be funded for infrastructure to, knock on wood, start a major housing development project here in the city of Barre up on Prospect Heights. And I can talk a little bit more about that, but just kind of at a high level, that's what we're doing, that's what we're about.
There's constant confusion between us and the Barre Partnership.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, we are two separate entities and both very vital to the community. We do very different things and we work very well with the Barre Partnership and have strong bonds with Tracy Lewis, their executive director. I have a lot of involvement with them as well. I'm their photographer. I'm on their board. So the Barre Partnership is a designated downtown organization focusing on vitality and vibrancy on our main street and our downtown. So helping promote businesses, putting on all of our events, Heritage Festival, Farmers Market, concerts in the park, Food Truck Thursdays, all those things are created and promoted by the Barre Partnership. So those are the things that are really forefront in our community and are really crucial to enticing people outside to join in, but also just keeping heart and spirit up in the community. And our role is much more low-key and long-term and just as vital, but not really in your face in the same way. And there's constant confusion that we're the same organization.
And we're not. And hopefully that helps to clarify. We do a lot of collaboration with the partnership. But yeah, we're definitely long-term. We're about strategic planning. We're about helping businesses grow, helping businesses come here, helping them get settled, helping them expand. And most recently, definitely about addressing the housing crisis in this area and in this region.
Yeah, and I know that prior years, a very long time ago, the BADC was instrumental in creating the City Place building. If it weren't for BADC, we would not have that. And I also believe BADC was greatly involved with the Blanchard block. And you guys have done a lot of development in the city, and you've done a lot of development in the town as well. Which gets me to that comment. You guys are shared by the city and the town. We kind of get like two for the price of one. We've got now marketing, and we've got the director, and both of the communities are paying for that. Whereas if we were all by ourselves, it would be quite considerably more expensive. And you do a fantastic job with both communities. And you guys the BADC was basically the only reason why we got $5.7 million put into the Barre Auditorium and the transit line.
And that's our role, is to support economic development and growth in the community.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that, the Barre Auditorium is certainly, economic growth, because without that, we can't have really awesome events. I mean, I think of the MMA fights. I know that Aired Out is very much involved in that.
Yes, very much.
I know Rex is constantly saying, we need to upgrade the auditorium.
Facility, yeah.
And
well,
now,
the people
So
that
much potential
come,
there.
the people that come are saying that.
Yeah.
That's what they want. They're like, oh my gosh, you guys need to get some air conditioning in here.
Right. And it was because of the Barre area development that
It can happen.
Yeah, exactly. So you mentioned Prospect Heights, which, for those that don't know, it's a housing development that you guys are working on to bring needed housing to Barre City. One of the things that, what's missing is that kind of middle market for housing in Barre City. A 2-3 bedroom house, it's not easy to come by. And the other thing is that any type of development seems to always happen, for housing up in Barre Town, just because it's much easier. But you guys are working really hard up on the Prospect Heights. If you don't mind, could you give us some information on that?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Yeah, so the property that we're looking at is a 30-acre piece of land. It's about a half a mile from the Barre Opera House, straight up Prospect Heights. It's basically surrounded by Prospect Heights and Jake Street. So if you all know where Country Way is, that's fields behind Country Way. That is the top part of what we've dubbed the Prospect Heights project.
So it's right next to like the
radio
presidential
station.
Correct. The radio station's kind of
Okay. Yep.
in the middle of it, or
Yep.
kind of the radio station. You drive to the end of the road, the radio station's there, and behind that is the parcel of land.
Okay.
And it kind of spreads down the hill.
Will that, because there's paper streets up there.
There are paper streets. So this particular piece of land was actually permitted in the 90s in what's called a plat permit. So it was subdivided and approved by the city of Barre in 1991, I believe. We have confirmed with the city that that permit is in place and valid in perpetuity. That said, there's a lot of work to do, obviously, to bring it current in the sense of all the permitting necessary for wastewater, sewer, Act 250, of course. But what's currently being proposed over a 5 to 10 year period is a housing development that could consist of up to approximately 128 units. Now, after Act 250, it will probably be less. We understand that. But that's what's being proposed, and that's what we're looking at. The first phase, of course, is infrastructure and getting the road in there, tying it into existing water, sewer, electric, and so forth.
So regarding the development, we talk about one of the things that, Barre City struggles with is our tax rate. And this is building our grand list immensely. Do you have an idea of how much money it's going to possibly bring in for a grand list?
That's a great question. I think it's really going to depend. So, again, 5 to 10 years. These can't pop up overnight. We wish they could, but they can't. We are, and I say we because there's a lot of people involved. It's very much in its infancy, but we are envisioning housing development that would run the gamut from what's called market rate. So, single-family homes that can meet the need of large employers like CVMC, who we're partnering with, the school district, employers who can't hire people because there's no place for them to live once they've accepted the job. Mm-hmm. The whole way across the spectrum to working with Downstreet. We're starting conversations with Downstreet. So we're envisioning essentially a hillside of people living together in harmony, if you will, that runs the spectrum from affordable the whole way up to market rate. Did that answer your question?
It did.
Yeah. That's been a constant reoccurring question.
It's a constant
probably number one question we've gotten in the community so far. So
that is the number one question for sure, and I think people have concerns about that, issues with that. I've heard people say, "Oh, is it just going to be one big, giant hillside of houses that nobody can afford?" Well, no. We want to make it something that people can afford, working professionals can afford, and we also recognize the need for affordable housing, and hence the need to work with organizations like Downstreet. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great. I just want to let people know that are watching, if you have some questions, we would certainly like to take some of them. Feel free to post them in the chat below, and I'll try to ask the questions. And if we don't get to them tonight, if you don't mind, just go through the comments maybe a little bit later and take a peek and maybe answer some of them. So we obviously had city council. We had some discussion about the increase in the budget, which, we say, people say, oh, it was a 50% increase, but considering, the budget is kind of lower, it's not as much because it came out to about $28,000, and the difference between, what we were putting into the budget. So what was it, like 15,000 extra than what was in the budget?
Approximately 15,000.
Yeah. So it wasn't like there was a huge amount, especially when you compare it to like the library, who, we pay like $200,000. So if it was a 50% in that one, that would obviously be a lot of money, and it's not as much for the BADC, but we didn't put it into the budget. We ended up putting it on the ballot for people to have that opportunity to make a vote on it. So the question is why are we giving you an increase?
Sure. Great question. So, just backing up a little bit, what we proposed when we met with the city council in early December and then again in January was an increase, you're right, of approximately $28,000 for the city and $28,000 for the town. And that is to support our work as the economic development arm for the Barre community, to write the grants, to help the businesses move here, to help the businesses expand, to address the housing crisis. None of that can be done without the support of marketing. Or I should say, has been done without the support of marketing. Right. And I think our board recognized that last year. Prior to my time, we brought Shannon on. She's doing an absolutely fabulous job, and we make a great team. And I guess it comes down to the cost of business, I'll say, and then also, just a frank statement. If we're not doing the marketing for for the Barre area, which is so crucial, who's going to do it?
Right.
That's my biggest question, who's going to do it? And so that's what we're asking, and now ultimately asking of the voters. The council voted that it'd be something that we would put on the ballot for March to support our continued marketing efforts.
I mean, we're just a team of two. So to keep that into perspective, there are two of us doing completely different roles.
Right.
And you can't expect one person to be phenomenal at all aspects of such an integral part of this organization. So going forward, if we want to see continual success with the same trajectory, it's really important to be able to market within our own community, those beyond, and those beyond our state. And we need both of us to do that successfully.
Raylene, you got a question?
Well,
Or a comment?
it's not really a question. It's more of a comment in that I disagree that this is a new position for Shannon, because I believe wholeheartedly that I know when Cody was here, we had him here every Monday, and Shannon always had her foot in the door. I've seen you go to Millstone. I've seen you go to the high school, to the career center, the pictures, and everything that you've done. And you've given us enough of your free time, and you've proven your worth. And
Thank you, Raylene. I
that's
appreciate
my take on it.
I think free
mean,
time is the key word. Pro bono maybe is the proper legal
Yes.
term for it.
Yes.
Yeah, and she was brought on in June, but prior to that has been doing work.
So just to give a little background on how I got involved in the community, I was raised in Barre. I grew up here. I moved away. I lived in the Bay Area. I lived in New York City. I worked in luxury hospitality. I was homesick for a long time. And when we started a family, my ex-husband and I, we came back to Barre. We bought a home here. Barre was in the midst just right after the big dig, and seeing the comparison to how it was growing up here to all the positive changes that were happening, I had some initial hesitation, but then was so excited to be here. And then the same going into the school system, I had hesitation with my children going to Barre City School because of reputations that were completely unvalidated. And so I started volunteering in the school system because I wanted to promote all the good things that I knew were happening there. And I'd become a photographer along the way, and I knew that I could lend my talents and help promote those things. And after I became familiar with Tracy Lewis and the Barre Partnership, I said, it's not just the school system that struggles, it's all of Barre. And I want to do the same thing for Barre that I'm doing for the school. So I started a meeting with Tracy, and she said, we have some events you can photograph. And I was like, no, I want to do this all the time. I want to promote Barre all the time. And I started as their photographer, and then she connected me with Cody, and I started doing some work with them, and now it's just on a grander scale. And I want to both Aimee and I, we work so fantastic together, and with us as a team, it's just, there's so much potential in this community, and there's so many good things here already that people just need to see, and we just need to keep building on.
And the worth is, in my mind, the worth is, it's just like we recently had Erica Rail on Air It Out, and we were talking about homeless and different things surrounding the crisis here, in not in just Barre, but in the area. And in talking to her, being able to put faces with names, and I think it's the same with what Shannon does here, being able to put a building with pictures of that, the befores and the afters, and this is what it could be, and showing the vitality here, what it truly is, as opposed to what is rumored to be, is huge, and she can be proof of that.
Thank you. People see things on the surface, they see what they know or what they've known. And so when they drive down Main Street and they see some of the same empty storefronts that have been there for ages, they use that as a direct representation of their thought of Barre. Meanwhile, Aimee and I know what's going on in these empty spaces. We know there's reasoning behind it. We know that there's positive things and potential there. But what people don't see are the inner workings of the city. They don't see all of the positive things happening in the school system or the projects that we're working on. We have really extraordinary businesses in this community that people don't even know exist or that we house here. And those are things that our community needs to know about and those beyond our community.
Absolutely.
I'll just, excuse my coughing fit. I apologize. I just want to add to that, that our vision, what Shannon just said, you probably are familiar with what St. Albans is doing, what Virgins did, what White River Junction has done. We want to do that here. And I think with my background, where I'm coming from, and my abilities, with partnership with Shannon, we can do that. We can completely revitalize this strip. Together with our board, with the support of the community, obviously with the support of the voters.
Can you give us some information about what those communities did? Because I know that there was significant development down there, and but I'm not going to lie to you, I haven't been to like St. Albans or White River Junction in
similar to
decades.
Rutland's trying to do the same thing. So old Vermont cities that were once in the industrial golden era that sort of, if you will, all due respect, fell by the wayside for varying reasons, economically, that have pulled themselves up by their bootstrings through grant dollars, through economic development, through bringing businesses into their downtown, have revitalized themselves. You go to, I'll use Virgins as an example because I used to drive through there. Virgins, you wouldn't stop. I mean, it wouldn't be a place you would even think to get out. And now it's a destination. It's a place to go. There's a nightlife, there's lovely restaurants, there's art galleries, there's things to do. We're on the cusp of all of that right here. I mean, this is just a beautiful downtown. It's a gorgeous place. And we're just talking about the city. I mean, there's more than just the city. There's the whole town. And, I know my board has a vision for that. And, I feel humbly one of the reasons why they brought me on. And I think the partnership that I have with Shannon is just phenomenal to make that happen. But we need the financial support to do that. It isn't a one-person job. I mean, honestly, even two people. I think as this grows, as this city and this town grows, so will all of the organizations that support the city and town.
Nice. And since you mentioned your board, and this is probably putting you on the spot, could you give us some idea of who's on your board? Is that okay?
Sure. We have a 15-member board.
Never mind. I didn't realize that.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people,
business owners, community members.
That's a lot of people.
A lot of people. It's a very active board, which I will say, which I'm extremely proud of. Everyone's very involved. We have lawyers, we have business people, we have bankers, we have school teachers, the whole gamut. And everyone is. We had a board meeting today, except for I think one board member who is out sick. Everybody shows up and they're actively involved and passionate and care about everything that we're doing.
And I will say, and I sound like I'm doing a puff piece, and I'm and I apologize to it's not meant to be a puff piece, but I am in a really good spot with the BADC, and I'm really proud of what you guys are doing. So this is my way of saying thank you. But the thing that a lot of us don't understand, and we talk about sharing the two people, but it's actually not the case. We're sharing like 15 people because it's not a board. It's 16, 17 people. I don't know how to count. Because it's not just a board that sits there and says, yeah, do this, this, and this. They're like actively involved. For example, Carl Rinker. I mean, he's very much involved in doing things in this. Just a couple months ago, we had a meet and greet here, and Carl was like, "Hey," and coming over. Let me tell you this great idea he's got, and that kind of involvement, and I think of like Sarah Field, who's very much involved in. And she, is Ed Roos on
the
there?
owner of this building.
Yes. Oh, the owner of this building is
Jen Lawrence.
Jen Lawrence is also on the
Marcus Browning of Stone and Browning.
Dave
They're all people.
Rubel, Al Flory.
They're all people who are really dedicated to the community
Yep.
And all volunteer. That's
Right.
an all volunteer
and that's
board.
the thing. Like I like I said, you get 15 for the price of
Right. We're two on
Two.
staff and then a huge team of people who
Right.
are also supporting us.
Right.
Yeah. One thing I
So-
wanted to mention, actually, which just we're teeing up for this, is the completion of a new video promotion for Barre, for the city and the town, which we've dubbed Barre, the Heart of Vermont. And Tony Campos, who's on our board, Barre,
the heart of
Barre,
Vermont?
the Heart of Vermont. Don't you love
the
it?
Heart of Vermont. Oh my
Yeah,
word!
we're gonna trademark it.
I'm just gonna say, this isn't trademarked, but
You should
I mean,
trademark
the
it.
Heart of
beat.
Vermont.
The Heart of Vermont, Barre Beat. Yep. Hey,
I'm
we
just
got
saying.
some synergies.
Yes. Are we going to be part of the video?
Well, we just watched the final revision with the
Yes.
board today, got approval.
And we will be releasing it soon. It's going to be on the city website, of course, on the town website, on our website, on a ton of downstream markets, social media, YouTube. We'll be able to share it with you very soon. But we're really excited about it. I think we can share that the spokesperson for it is Willem Lang. So
the voice of New
he's
England.
the voice of New England. He was
Iconic.
fabulous to work with. And it is a wonderful piece. I mean, it truly markets this community in a beautiful way.
It's something the whole community will be proud of, to be in Barre and to be a part of this community, just watching it.
And the point of it is to recruit people here, to bring their businesses here, to move their families here, to expand their businesses here, to consider living here. And you'll see it when you watch it. You'll get it. It's just a feel good. It's almost a tearjerker. You will love it.
So,
I'm looking
so
forward
you're
to
saying
it.
that the Barre Beat is not going to be,
Next time.
part
Maybe
of
next
this-
Oh.
Is that what's
There
what's
will be more to
happening?
come.
Well,
Michael.
maybe the trailer or bloopers or something. I don't know.
I really appreciate you guys coming down here.
Yes.
It's
Very
8:00 at night, and or not 8. Well, it's not 8:00 at night right now, but it's 8:30, and it's late for people to come in. And you're from Stowe, correct?
Correct.
So you have to travel, and you're traveling as well. And I really do appreciate you guys coming down. If you want to say anything. Do you have anything additional that you want to hit on?
Thank you so much for having us. It's really a pleasure to share a little bit about what we're doing and who we are, and certainly would welcome the opportunity to talk more with you in the future.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah, you're welcome on the Barre Beat anytime.
Mm-hmm.
As the heart of Barre and the beat, the Barre Beat. It's not going to go away. You should have never said that.
Oh my goodness.
That was a mistake.
Oh.
But no, thank you very much for coming down, and
Yes.
hope you guys have a lovely evening, and we'll
Thank
let you take off now. So
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Michael.
Have a
Thank
great
you so
week,
very
and
much.
thank you
Always a
so
pleasure.
much.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So now we'll jump into the city, the council packet.
Woohoo.
Woohoo! It's so exciting, so exciting.
Yes.
How you doing, Raylene?
I'm doing all right.
You doing okay?
How about you? You doing okay?
I can't complain too much. Did you get an opportunity to
I did.
have a good weekend?
I guess.
I guess?
It was all
Yes.
right. Yeah, it
You
was
know,
an all
it's-
right weekend.
We're
We were super busy on Saturday. We JD entered the chili cook-off over at
I heard
Wilkins,
about that.
and he won. I
Congratulations.
mean, he couldn't even know. He was so shocked. So we spent the day at Wilkins, and so then Sunday had to do all my Saturday chores on Sunday. So, kind of the weekend just went just like that.
I had a very nice weekend. I did nothing
You did nothing. Yes.
for the most part. I like it. I'm glad that I can do nothing occasionally.
We try super hard to keep busy on the weekends. I mean, there's always so much stuff going on, and truthfully, it's hard to be in all places at once.
Yeah.
And sometimes, that's what it seems like. Yeah.
So tomorrow night, city council.
City council.
So one of the things that we're going to be discussing is our strategic plan, which is rather large, and we're not going to be voting on it. We're just going to be having
Discussion
a
only.
conversation. Yeah, just discussion. So then after that, we're going to be having the conversation about the $250 ARPA funds, which is going
$250.
200. Yeah, I wish it was $250. $250,000.
There
Sorry,
you go.
I made a mistake.
Yes, where that's going.
Yep, and that's going to Downstreet, to the Downstreet project, the Granite
Ward
City
5.
Apartments, the Ward 5 building.
Yes.
Which people that don't know, that's the school up on the hill,
Up off of Granite Street, right?
Yeah, up off Granite Street. It's hard
Not
to.
Granite.
It's
well,
I mean
the next one
Granite,
down
that's
by
Railroad.
Denty's.
It's Railroad.
Yeah, you go
so
by Railroad
you go down
Street.
Railroad, you go up the hill, and it's
Yeah.
It's the little school there. It's currently occupied by. Well, it's not occupied by anybody. They just use it for storage.
It was for a little while, but
Yeah.
It's not now. And so this project, I've actually heard many different opinions, either really strongly for or really strongly oppose. I have not really heard any middle of the road stuff yet from people in the community. A lot, it's a little bit of housing for what seems like a lot of money. And some question that greatly.
Tell you how much money?
Yeah. It's like, is it like $6 million?
It's like, well, no, it's $2.8 million for the project itself.
Yeah.
And the project includes two, and I'll just show a picture of the building that we're referring to, the Ward 5 school. This is
I went to that
courtesy.
school, by the way.
I did too.
Yes.
I did too.
K through 4.
Yep. I didn't go through K through 4. I went through just preschool. I just went up there, and I can't remember the name of the teacher. But so anyway, this is the building, and so yeah, the price is $2.8 million. And by the way, that picture came from the Times-Argus, but it's $2.8 million, and it sugars out to about $311,000 per unit. And on top of that, we're actually not going to get the full taxing, I believe. I think that because it's low-income housing, it won't be fully taxed the way that, like, if a private developer went in there and did it. I might be wrong. We'll certainly find out tomorrow night. But yeah, it was $311,000 per unit, which is quite a bit of money.
It is a lot of money, and I don't know if that takes into an account the accommodations that may need to be made in the building as far as accessibility and those things are very costly things and would be costly no matter who, and they may even be more costly for you and I than what the city's being charged. So I will say that a development by somebody like the city or this kind of development is much more entailed than you or I doing it.
And I think one of the things that they're going to do is they're going to try to maintain the historic nature of the building. I might be wrong on that, which I hope I'm not wrong on that. But yeah, I'm assuming that's the case. It's going to be 9 total units, 4 2-bedroom units, 3 1-bedroom unit, and 2 studio apartments. So it's not going to be going, providing housing for that. It's very difficult housing in Barre, which is the 3 to 4 bedroom units.
Right, what we just discussed with Aimee and Shannon.
Right. It's that's correct
not
as well.
That
it's
kind
not,
of. Yeah.
It's not a housing issue where you can buy a house or anything. So that so you went there for elementary school.
I did. I went to, I said K through, but I didn't. I went through first, second, third, fourth. Then, of course, we had to go up to North Barre for fifth. And then we had to go to Spalding graded for sixth, seventh, eighth. And then we went to Spalding.
You went to North Barre.
Yes, for 1 year, my fifth grade year, because
Who did you have?
I think Mr. Tavel.
Mr. Taffel. He was a principal at the time when I was there.
I'm pretty sure he was my teacher.
Really?
But I don't remember. I don't really remember. There were so many. I know who, like my favorite one at Ward 5 was Mrs. Thompson, who now is, oh gosh, her name just went out right out of my head. She's still a teacher, Beth. But she's Holbert, I think is her name now.
Was she pre-K?
No.
Okay. I can't remember who was my teacher.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a pre-K.
I went to Williamstown for kindergarten, and I had Mrs. McGlynn, and I will never forget that woman. Like I still, if I see her once in a while, believe it or not, at my age, I still see my kindergarten teacher. Yeah, like it's so cool to see her and give her a big old hug.
Such a long time ago.
It really was.
I mean, for me, that was like 40 years ago.
For me, it was like 45. Yeah.
Oh man. Yes. So Connie asks, do you remember when Lincoln School became Lincoln House?
I do.
I don't remember the details. I just remember them doing that. I know that all the schools after they combined them into the one elementary BCEMS, which is, I've always been very much a lamenting on that. I think we lost a special piece of our community by going to the larger school. Not going to deny that. It is what it is. I understand that it was more expensive, but I probably wouldn't care. I think that.
Well, when you were younger, I mean, your memories from that
correct.
are, if your memories were of the way it is now and you didn't know any better,
Right. Well, I
You
mean, and I know that this isn't the purpose of the show tonight, but we're going to talk about it now. Because I do have really strong feelings about those local neighborhood schools. I think that one of the benefit is it created cohesion within our community. I also think that for parents, it was easy to walk their kid to school. It was easy to go and participate because they were down the road. Whereas now, if you want to participate, you have to go through all the paperwork and everything else and drive up to the school. It's not like an easy process anymore. So granted, back in the old days, we can't, I can wish for it all I want, but unfortunately it's never coming back, sadly.
right, it's not ever going to come back. And see, your take and my take are two very different things, because the way you see it as that we were kind of like all one, and I look at it, if you lived on the north side, you were kind of and if you lived on the south side,
that's a good
so
point.
it was still kind of very cliquey of, well, I went to Lincoln and
That's
I went to
true.
Ward 5.
That's
And
very true.
so you're going to get those things no matter where you are. And I kind of feel like where the kids are now, they are truly all together.
Yeah.
And
Okay, so that's a
It can
very
make a
valid
difference.
point. That's a very valid point. I still won't give up my love for the local neighborhood schools.
Exactly.
Just because I still think that the interaction with the family units was far better than what it is. But you are correct.
Yep.
I hate saying that when I'm, I hate admitting
It's
that
going to be
somebody
okay.
else is
Would you like
correct.
me to get you some water?
Yes, a little bit. But anyway, so yeah, that's what they're going to be doing there. And then on the next topic of conversation that's going to be on City Council is the outside organizations, outside City of Barre outside organization funding policy. So this was a policy that was set up, I think, like 2 years ago. And I'm going to post the PDF in the chat so folks can go and take a look at it. Basically, the ballot was getting really long with all these outside organizations like Washington County Mental Health, People's Health and Wellness, Green Mountain Transit, Mosaic, the Women's Battered Shelter, which I think has changed its name to Circle. I can't ever remember it because I'm so used to the other. But yeah, so those different organizations, it was just so many on the ballot.
And we add more all the time.
Correct. Well, we haven't
this
been.
year, right?
So, we haven't. So, since we what city council does is usually we just get it up until we change the policy. We would just get like an email and say, hey, we want to be back on the ballot. So we would put them back on the ballot. And then we changed the policy where you had to submit paperwork all before January 1st, I think. And if you don't submit it, then we wouldn't put you on the ballot. But we made some exceptions last week due to some issues. Like Heather Slayton came from Washington County Mental Health, and she explained that there was like some turnover, and because of the turnover, there was a hiccup in processing for that. And then Daniel Barlow talked about the same issue, and we ended up voting to put it on the ballot. Technically, we shouldn't have. Period. I mean, no doubt we really should not have done that. But it's one of those things like, man, do you want to be the jerk?
Right.
Right. So anyway, we're going to be
because
having...
because that they're much needed programs. It's not that you don't see their worth.
Correct.
You just, at some point, those rules had to be put into place because it was out of control.
Correct.
And you don't want to go back there.
Right.
And so...
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's going to be rough. So we'll have that conversation and we'll talk about whether or not, I'm assuming we're probably going to talk about whether or not we want to continue doing what we're doing right now, because it actually puts a lot of stress on Carol. We tell Carol to do all this, and then we make exceptions. And, and she looks like the bad guy when she's not. She's just following the process. And, it's unfortunate. And then tomorrow night, we're going to have 2 additional people that haven't gotten their petitions. Aimee's Armoire
and the Rainbow Bridge.
Correct. And they're gonna be coming in, I believe, to request some additional funding as well. So we'll have that conversation, whether or not we want to do that. And there is precedence. We have done it in the past, where we put things on the budget. A couple of years ago, we put 40,000 or 20 or 40,000 on the budget or on the ballot for BADC. Actually, granted, it's a little bit different because BADC is technically it's part of us. Like, we are very much involved in it, and we fund them out of our general budget. So this was like a special above and beyond. And the Heritage Festival does that too. They have $7,000 in there as well, or 5,000. Might be 5,000. Tracy, if she's watching, which
I don't. She's
probably,
in bed.
That's true. Everybody's in bed.
But I do not remember what she said, and that's awful. But I don't remember what she said. I listened. I promise I did, but I just don't. Yeah.
Can't ever remember everything.
No.
But so we'll have that conversation, and then as I posted on the Barre City Community fan page, we're going to be talking about the annual report. This year, so we're going to have, for the dedication, which is really awesome, it's going to be to Steve McKenzie.
Right.
Steve was born here, raised in Barre. He actually lived on, I believe, College Street, if I recall. And if I'm wrong, no one's going to fact check me, so it's okay.
Tom will.
Tom will, yes. Tom will probably fact check me. And so he's been a lifelong resident here. He delivered on many fronts in the city, the Big Dig, development of Enterprise Alley, the expansion of the pool, and shepherding in the local options tax, which not everybody loved, but you know, he did make that happen. And there was so much more that Steve has done, and because of that, I'm assuming we're gonna do that. And if we don't, if anybody votes no on that, I will make sure they never get elected again.
Yeah, I can't imagine that they wouldn't. One
What kind of
thing,
jerk
I mean,
is gonna
I
do
haven't.
that?
I mean, I haven't spent as many years with Steve as you have. I didn't even know him all that well until probably the last year. But I will say, in that last year, he is everywhere. And even though he has stepped away from his position, he retired, you know, when we were doing the coin drop, when you and I were down there counting soaking wet money. Who came in but Steve? And
Steve.
stood
Wrapping
there.
presents and
Yeah,
everything.
you know, he is. And then a few events that we've been to most recently. Yep, there he is. There's Steve. And so, you know, it's nice to see that he may have retired, but he's enjoying his time here, like more, and on a different level.
Yeah. So, the next thing that we're going to be voting on, which I'm sure that there's no reason why anybody would vote against these. Going to try to muscle through this.
I have faith in you.
It's going to be hard. So we also have the memoriam. And it's going to be Jody Norway. And so Jody was the assistant to the city manager. She passed away at work while she was doing her duties, opening up the doors. She was born in Randolph, and she graduated Spalding High School. She took great pride in her role as an executive director, and she's like a really amazing person. She was really amazing. I can't help myself.
And you worked with her.
I did. I worked
National
with her
Life
at
as
National Life, and she is. I'm really glad, and she would be very happy that she is going to be on the annual report. So anyway, we're gonna have that, and then of course we're gonna make a decision about which photos to put on there, and that's where Barre City Community Fan Page, I had put them on there for people to vote on it, or not necessarily vote. I shouldn't say. Which ones would you suggest? I'm actually gonna probably take that list of people that did that, and I will probably combine those numbers together and find out what they want, and that's probably what I'm going to suggest that we do. But anyway, so if you haven't done it yet, go on the Barre City Community Fan Page and put which ones you want to see as the cover and the back. Everybody liked the number 6, which was the picture of the Youth Triumph and Memorial. It was kind of dark, but I was talking to Shannon, and she said that she could lighten it up. So
I did like that one. I chose number 3 with the flag in the parade.
Yep.
Then the one of the fire department at the park during the concert, spraying the kids. Just because it's what it is down there. If you've never been to the concert in the park, you really should go, because it really is a true, like, old-time feeling when you're down there, and it's just so community. I love going down.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun, and that was that night was a blast. It was so hot, and they came, and those kids, just the laughing and the screaming, and then the adults, JD of course too, but
I mean,
you know, we won't count him.
Let's just be honest. I mean, JD is a kid, so, and
he is a kid.
He's about the same size as one.
Oh. Did you see he moved the glitter tree and everything just to be nice to you?
I truly appreciate that the glitter tree is not here,
and all the glitter got wiped up, and now you're teasing him.
No, it did not. I do see glitter right there, and I think there's still glitter in the microphone. I'm just saying. Let's see.
We're gonna have to get you a can.
Yep, there's still glitter in the microphone.
Yeah.
Not that I'm annoyed by that, but it doesn't matter. I don't get my lips next to it anyway.
Right.
Although I should, and freak JD out.
He's got his little wipies over there. It's all right.
I'm licking it now.
My God.
I'm just kidding, folks. I was going like this. So anyway,
Stuff I put up
I
with
know,
from
right?
the two of you. I'm just saying, like I don't get paid enough for this
No,
shit.
you don't. You don't get paid enough for it. That's for sure. Considering you get paid nothing. I pay you nothing. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
But in my defense, I'm not taking in any money. So this
That's
is
right.
The Barre Beat podcast is a nonprofit.
Yeah. And it is all about the community
Getting information
and getting
out there.
information to the people that need it. And you are taking a huge weight off of us because on Aired Out, because we do nothing politics, period.
Right.
Except for Tom on Wednesdays.
Yep.
And that is literally a wrap up of the council meeting. It's not a deep dive into politics.
And
We don't do the interviews prior to elections. We don't do any of that. No.
right.
We tell them call Michael.
And we're actually speaking about the politics on things. Next Monday, we have scheduled Rosemary Averill. She's going to come in. So she's going to come in, and she wanted to come in and be part of the Barre Beat podcast. And we said, yeah, sure. Not a problem. Anytime. And that goes for anybody.
That's right.
Anybody that's running, or you know what, quite frankly, I mean, if anybody wants to be a panelist, I certainly wouldn't have a
Right.
problem with
Let
it.
us know.
I mean, some people I would, but
Yeah, but let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
We
Absolutely.
do try to make accommodations for all of that. And this Wednesday,
yes,
you will take the hot seat, though.
I will. Take
So
the hot seat.
I'll be at the helm. Sarah Pregent will be right here.
Yep.
And you'll be over in the hot seat.
I will be.
And that's
I'm a
what
little
you get
terrified.
for running for school board in Barre City. And I believe that we've chosen somebody that is going to ask some really tough but really fair questions. And I'm looking forward to having that interview.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little sketchy.
You're scared.
I'm a little scared.
You're scared.
A little bit. She can be pretty intimidating, I'm sure.
She can.
I wouldn't want to mess with her. But yeah, so she's going to come in and do that. And Sarah's not able to make it, and Sarah comes on the Barre Beat all the time.
Sarah Hellman.
Sarah Hellman, sorry. And we don't know. I've heard rumors that there's somebody else running out there, but I don't know who that is.
But whoever it is, call us. Get in
call
touch.
us,
Yeah,
and
get
you
in
can
touch.
come on with us. If you can make it this Thursday or this Wednesday, that would be awesome. And who knows, if you can't, maybe we can
Schedule
try to
another one.
convince Sarah to come back.
Yeah.
Sarah, I don't know if she watches the Barre Beat podcast, but she's always welcome on the Barre Beat podcast. So I would love to get somebody here to do a school board update, which I suppose if I win, that will be me.
Right. You'll be doing that.
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you for doing that. And
You're most welcome.
And as you know, as I've stated, I think last week, and I spoke to Gina Galfetti today. She's going to start coming on February 6th. She's going to be here every
Right.
other week.
Right.
Paul's stepping back a little bit because there's really not much going on until budget season. Once budget season kicks in, that's when
He'll come back.
He'll start coming back, but it's hard for him. You know, he's a busy guy, and you know, there's not always a lot going on on the. Volume disappeared.
Well, that is odd. That happened to us today
Is it still
during the show.
disappeared?
Can you hear us now?
I hope so.
Who's telling us
That was
this?
Megan Rollins Brown. Isn't that Sarah's?
That's Sarah's sister. Can you hear us, Megan? Or anybody?
We'll just see.
Well, I could turn my phone up.
Huh. Well.
So,
Oh,
no,
yeah,
we can hear it.
We can
Okay.
hear. Oh, that was awkward.
Yep.
So, Yeah.
Yeah. No, weird things have been happening here all day. So this morning, while Rory was here with us, we first lost his mic, then the lights went off and came back on, and then we lost signal, then we lost sound again. So I think all of this heavy, wet snow is really troubling us,
Yeah.
giving us a hard time. I have to put my glasses
Which is
on,
really
see?
weird because I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like the snow issue is, I mean, everybody's like, oh, we're getting 5 inches of
Yeah.
snow.
Oh,
I'm
that
like,
part, no.
Please.
But I do
Please.
wonder if it being heavy on the trees and the cables is affecting some of
Yes.
the connections. That
Well,
part.
I got a call from one of my constituents today about that, and she was concerned about trees overhanging the power lines, and I actually reached out to Nicholas, and I also reached out to Green Mountain Power so that they could go and take care of the problem before it really becomes a problem. But yeah, so I'm super excited about Wednesday. I just want to say that I'm like super excited.
You're nervous, but you're excited.
I'm nervous but excited.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Anyway.
everybody, for that horrible
So-
noise.
Yeah, other than that, I don't know. I don't think we have anything. We have a school board meeting this week, which they're going to be discussing the FOIA procedure, which I've already looked over, and I thought to myself, we could fix some of that. But there's also, there's going to be going over the audit, I believe. So I don't have all the information in front of me because I don't prepare for that, which I probably should. But, yeah. Thursday night, 6 p.m. at Spalding High School.
And tomorrow night, as we've been talking about, is City Council.
City Council.
Please tune in. There's a lot to go over, a lot of information to take in. If you want to weigh in on the Ward 5 and where that money's going to, and now's the time to do it because it's a discussion. It's not a vote, it's a discussion, and that's what it's for,
it's
right?
an allocation. I think we're allocating it.
Oh yeah, that is already right, exactly. So that was already, so no, you can't discuss that, but the rest of the stuff is going to be
Yep. Authorize the allocation of $250,000.
That's right. But there are still people that I know are going to talk about that because I said that there are some people that are really like Yahoo, and then the total opposite end of the spectrum of really pissed off. Yeah. And I feel like that's going to be the case no matter what you do, because you're always damned if you do and damned if you don't. And so if it looks nice and it is not going to be a victim of squatting or rotting into the ground so it's unsafe to the community around it, I mean, I'm all for it. How can you not be? Even though it does seem like a lot of money. And when there are other problems that people are going, why aren't we doing this first?
The real question is whether or not they could raise $250,000 by themselves. But anyway,
we have to have faith that they can. And I mean, I've seen a lot more money raised around here for less things. So, how passionate are we truly about the housing crisis? How truly passionate are we about bringing vitality back to our city? This will tell the truth, I guess, whether or not you're willing to put your money where your mouth is, kind of thing. I
feel like that's calling me out on that, but that's okay. We'll see how it goes tomorrow night.
Yeah.
I think obviously everybody knows where I stand.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Raylene, thank you for coming in, and
thanks for having me as always.
I guess you always come in, so I guess
Yeah.
I think that's it. I think that's
I think we need a new banner. Get rid of that rich guy.
That Rich Morey. Yeah. I do need to change that. It needs to be a little bit bigger because the screen doesn't take it all up.
I'm gonna have to
But-
give him a little bit of shit. I haven't
Well,
talked to him in a few weeks. I'm
I
gonna have to
know.
give him a little bit of shit and
You
tell him,
should.
I was sitting there across the desk reading your name over and over, wondering where you were still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
disappeared.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. Well, thank you all for watching the Barry Beat podcast live from Fly in the Wall Productions, Main Street, Barry, Vermont. We hope that you have a lovely evening. Hope to see you tomorrow night and Thursday night.
Yeah. Have a great night. Thanks for
Yep.
coming.
Absolutely.